Hey, Laurie. So excited to be here today with you. So, we're going to dive into something that I think we're both very passionate about, and that's bringing strategy into an enrollment marketing plan. Like, we need to be strategic, right? Can you give us some examples of why that might benefit our admissions cycle and our enrollment?
Yes, Aubrey, I love this topic. Thank you so much for bringing it up. And first and foremost, that relationship between marketing and admission is critical. If admission is off doing one thing, marketing's off doing another, they're not talking on a consistent basis, then who knows what kind of messaging is being put out there, what admission is saying to families, what marketing is posting on social media. So it starts over the summer. It starts with reflecting on the previous year and really looking at what are our enrollment goals? How did we meet them last year? And what do we need to do differently to meet them this year? It's not just about admission events. It's not just about promoting the application deadline on social media. It's what is your school's value proposition? What makes you different from others in your space? And first, you have to know what other schools' families are looking at next to yours. And then what are those key messages? What do you want to say? And then anchoring all of your content, A, in a consistent way, B, something that's rooted in all of your key messaging, and C, calendaring it out so you have that transactional, please come to our open house, please submit your application, but also our school is amazing because of A, B, C, D, and E. So, what have you experienced? What have you heard from schools? What have you seen?
Oh, absolutely. I would just say that that whole thinking strategically about it and meeting with your admissions director. I always say, like in marketing, I have to know everything there is to know about admissions, right? You have to know in order to be able to assist with the process. You need to know what their entire customer journey is and work with them to develop a comprehensive plan that takes them from the beginning, like before they've even asked anyone to do anything, right? Hey, how are we going to set this up? What are the steps in the process? How are we, like you said, Lori, calendaring it out so that we're not 2 weeks before the open house being like, hey, let's create a graphic and throw it on social media for the upcoming open house. There probably needs to be a multi-channel plan for all this promotion, especially if you've got a lot of eggs in your basket for that open house. So strategically thinking it through and working together to create that plan, especially over the summer, not right in front of what's happening, and being able to execute it and getting to the messaging. Like, this is how we're messaging it. It's anchored in these core principles and core value pieces because we know from looking at data from new family surveys or however you're collecting your data, these are the reasons parents are coming to look at us, right? And here are the reasons the parents are choosing us and enrolling. And that's what we're going to focus on in our messaging. So the strategy piece is huge. Laurie, your thoughts on this?
I agree. And, what I also think is important to add on is having those check-ins along the way. Are you sticking to your messaging? Are you sticking to your calendar? Are events being successful? Are they not? And taking notes so you're not racking your brain the following summer to be like, oh, what happened during that event in October? Were there people there? I don't really know. So also having those systems in place to track these things. And throughout the way, having the flexibility to go off on a tangent if you need to. And here's an example. When I was at my former school, we ran into an issue, and this was, I think, 8 years ago already, with third grade. The class was very imbalanced since kindergarten. There were something like 30 boys, 15 girls, and a couple of the families of the girls said, this isn't the greatest environment for my kid. We're looking somewhere else. So we said, hold the phone. Let us see what we can do in this area. And we went off script and we said, we need to get more girls into the fourth grade. So we planned this girls in STEM club. We had it at our upper school so families could see our other campus. And we had each of the third grade girls invite a friend, and it was a series. And so that contributed to a few girls enrolling. And now those kids are in 11th grade, and the class is pretty much a 50-50 split. There's about 75 to 80 kids, almost 50-50 in terms of gender split. So there are those situations that you have to tailor your messaging, you have to tailor your outreach in order to fill some of these gaps in various grades.
I love that you brought that up because it is the communication, it's the ongoing communication. And any of us who work in marketing, we know flexibility is the name of the game, right? Like life changes, things happen externally and internally in a school. That's going to change your plan, right? So those checkpoints are super important. I always think of the example like when I'm checking in, I'm asking who's coming? What are the people you're getting through the interview or the process? Are you getting mission aligned families? Are you getting the people that you need in the seats? And oftentimes, like recently, we were working with a school and they're like, okay, so this is the type of student that's now coming through. And I'm like, okay, let's back up. Let's look at what messaging do we need to tweak? What sort of things do we need to put in place to ensure you're getting people that are going to fit the classrooms that you're trying to fill and stuff like that. And that was really helpful on both sides. If I hadn't had that communication, without that information, I'm not going to know that we need to change something. And they're going to continue to get the same type of person through this funnel. So it's really important to have that ongoing communication between the offices.
Well, Aubrey, here's another question for you. For schools that might not have met over the summer to really map out their recruitment marketing plans, whether it's November or February or whatever off period of the year it is, what can schools do to really align themselves and get on a good path in a strategic or semi-strategic way so that they can be methodical about their recruitment activities?
Excellent. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If you as a team can get together and just section off some time and really take that time, it doesn't matter what time of year it is, to take that time and just step away to be able to start looking a little bit more of the big picture and try to get you through the next section of months. If biting off an entire year is too much, then look like 3 months. Try to just implement things that are going to help you get through the peak season and keep checking in because I think a plan, any plan that is somewhat strategic is better than no plan, whether you're in November, January, wherever you are in the cycle. Just having that time to step away and regroup and think together is really important. Now, what have you seen to work in those situations, Laurie?
Sure. This is semi-related, but I think also if you are approaching late fall, whether or not you had a marketing plan, the spring admission cycle looks completely different. And there are schools that maybe had all the applications they needed by December, and that's not the case anymore. So, like you're saying, it's never too late to really set yourself on that right course. And going off site for a day, going to somebody's house, ordering in lunch, having some snacks, and just brainstorming and looking at data, talking to parent ambassadors, just collecting information, really aggregating your notes from tours and conversations to say, what are these questions that parents are asking? Can we create a landing page in early January that said, other parents just like you are asking these questions about our school? Here they are. So, obviously, like, are you going to spend days and hours mapping out a full plan for the next 4 months? No, we can't do that. But if you ground yourself in a one pager of here are priorities, here's the channels that we're using, and these are the messages in which we're putting out on these channels, then at least you can press go.
Mhm. Absolutely, Lori. I love the idea of the gathering of the data. I know we've touched on that a few times in this conversation, but the data is super important to be able to inform your decisions and to be able to predict, okay, so what do we need to do in the future based on our data? So whatever data you're able to collect in-house, whatever work that you're doing is really important, can really help steer that ship during those moments. Anything else you'd like to add, Lori, before we sign off?
I don't think so. Plan, get something down on paper, and just go.
Yes. And I would say book your calendar and protect that time. I see so many times when people are like, yes, we're going to discuss this and we're only going to have this meeting. And then we're not going to book any time afterward or during that week to actually work on implementing it. And I'm like, well, it's probably not going to get implemented then, right? So good advice, Lori. Thank you so much. And we'll be back again with more of the series.